Tarot, welcome to my channel. So I thought I'd show you the unboxing of a couple of decks today, because the other day I actually I was teasing you saying that I was waiting for a very important delivery, and I was very nervous because I was following the tracking on my app. Every couple of seconds I was just checking the app to see what the track was. And it finally got delivered, and so I thought you may have wanted to know, because I did not disclose what decks the delivery was about. So I thought, I'm gonna show you because I am so very excited about this. And I just have to say something in praise of the person who sent the box to me. Now, this person is one of the administrators of one, let's say, Facebook group for tarot aficionados, where we can actually trade, sell, or buy tarot decks. And it's very similar to the equivalent in the US, which is called, but there's Marketplace, Tarot Marketplace, or there's Tim and Allen's, for example. I have to say, this person and the other administrators often are doing a very fantastic job to keep us safe, because I have to say, we've never been, let's say, there have been, during the years, of course, there's been a few people that perhaps started ghosting you when you were selling something, which is, if you know the experience, is actually very unpleasant, because when you post a tarot for sale, there's if it's an important tarot deck, or if it's something that is hard to find, you'll be just receiving so many messages from potential buyers. And the rules are, of course, the first person that raises their hand to say I want to get this deck has a priority, obviously. But there's a lot of people that put the comment there, sold, and then they just ghost you, and you don't hear back from them for like days sometimes. And that is very frustrating, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of people that comment afterwards, and they're really, they're really interested in that deck. But because of that, you're supposed to sell it to the person that said that first. So aside from that, we have actually never had any actual scammers in that page ever since I joined a few years ago. And that is thanks to the really wonderful job that they're doing behind the stage. They're keeping us safe. And so, a really big thank you to all of the administrators of that page, because I keep on seeing scammers in other groups, but not in that one. And, of course, if someone is ghosting you, that's not necessarily a scammer. I'm talking about actual scams where people sell decks and they're actually not there. They don't actually have them. They take your money and you don't get it back. It's full of people like that out there. But thankfully, thanks to the job of the administrators, we don't have that here in Australia. So having said that aside, I am so very excited about these two decks, one in particular. So let's have a look at what they are. Okay, so this one is actually a deck that is not going to stay with me. It's a deck that I got for a friend of mine who was looking for it. She has a very particular, one of the cards in specific for her is resonating a lot. She saw this deck on another channel, and she reached out to me to identify the deck, and I knew that it was this one. So I found it on, as I said before, on a post in Facebook, and here it is in its bag. So it was already opened, so I'm just gonna quickly show it to you. The bag is lovely, by the way. You would probably recognize what tarot this is. This bag is absolutely gorgeous. I really love the way in which is burlap or linen, and it's got a really wonderful texture. And this print, this gold print on top, I don't know if you can see, it actually is, it catches the light. It's very, very nice. So I'm just gonna quickly open this and show you which tarot it is. And it's the Cosmic Cycles Tarot by Martina Razzo and Miriam E.G. This is the second edition. I have a first edition, or is it a Kickstarter edition? It's probably the same thing. So if you don't know this deck, you probably don't see it a lot in my channel because I do believe that it's very young. Let me just grab something to open this without ruining the tag box. Okay, so here we go. It is a very, it feels like a very young deck, and it's all in order. So I'm obviously just gonna show you briefly a few of the cards. It's the story of the Page of Wands. So it's a very relatable deck, let me say, because it's a modern deck, as you can see. And each and every one of these cards is actually based on an experience on the life of the Page of Wands. And these are friends, you know, these are events that happened in a life, and adventures and decisions and moments of, you know, sometimes difficult moments, obviously, and healing moments. And you can see why. So it's a very beautiful deck, and I love the way in which the meanings are represented by these drawings in the cards. But you can see why this deck is not necessarily resonating with me, because these are very young characters, even though I'm a gamer as well. So it is beautiful. There's no two ways around that. It's just that you obviously need to, if you want to use a modern deck, this is Page of Wands, so that's the protagonist. So if you want this deck to resonate with you, obviously you need to find yourself reflected in the cards, or you need to find the way in which you can actually connect with the cards. And I think that in many cases, if that doesn't work, perhaps it doesn't work at first, perhaps it works, you know, once you start using it, etc. This is a really beautiful card. Obviously there'll be a connection sooner or later, or in my case, when the connection just is really stubborn, just doesn't seem to happen, then in that case I will be happy to reharm my deck, because I think that it's important for other people to work with it. Since I cannot work with it, then it's important for others to try and to give this deck the respect it deserves by using it and not letting it just, you know, accumulate dust in the shelves. Gee. Okay, yeah, that's a very tough Ten of Swords, isn't it? But then again, the Ten of Swords is tough. So I'm very curious to know, if you have this deck, how do you use it? Because you know, it's got a very nice color palette. It would pair up really well with the Midnight City Oracle, which is a sister tarot to the Midnight City tarot. And Midnight City is New York, obviously, so the creators are from New York. I don't have that tarot, nor do I have the Oracle deck, but it's definitely high on my list. So this is the Cosmic Cycles Tarot, and let's have a look. The next deck is actually the one that made me very, very nervous this morning, because I was very excited about it. Let's have a look. So this is it. I don't know if you can read through the bubble wrap. Let me just quickly remove the bubble wrap, and without ruining everything, because, you know, otherwise I'll be completely gutted. Now this deck is not out of print. It's still available on the creator's website, but it is a bit of an expense to get it here in Australia, and honestly it's also a rather expensive deck, I have to say. Well, I'll put the link to the website in the description box below, as I always do. But just as a little information, or, you know, spoiler alert, this is actually $120 US, this deck. So this is the Mio Ims Tarot, or Mio Ims, or however this is pronounced. I actually don't know. I know that the creator is Korean, South Korean, and I am so very excited about this deck. It's been on my list for ages, and whenever I do a consolidated order for all of the decks that I can only get shipped to my Parcel Collect service in Portland, Oregon, I always hesitate on this one. But see, the problem is that I'm obviously paying taxes on top of that. So I would have to pay 120 US dollars plus the shipping to Portland, plus taxes on the total shipping, plus the shipping to Australia. And we're talking about around 180, 190 US dollars in total, which makes it a very expensive purchase for me. So this one has been on my list forever, but I never really pulled the trigger because it was rather expensive. But here it is, and I'm so very excited about it. So it's I know a lot about this deck. These are the backs, by the way. It is a linen finish, and I don't know if you can tell. It's a very fine linen finish. It feels very soft to the touch. This one, okay, it reminds me a little bit of the, what's it called? The Uzi productions. So perhaps the Pagan Otherworlds Tarot, or the Supra Oracle, or the Materia Prima. It is a bit slippery, as you can see, but it's one of those things that I will always say, oh, that's a bit of a deal breaker for me, but no, actually it's not, because I just love the deck so much. This is, let's say, a translation. So this is in Korean language, obviously in English, and these are the translation from the English into Korean. There you go. It doesn't really have anything else when it comes to a booklet. I don't know whether in the website there is some kind of an additional PDF perhaps that I can download. I will definitely have a look. Look how beautiful this deck is. So this is the full. It's rather large, just to give you an example. From the Tarot of the White Cats from Los Carabeo, which is standard tarot size, just to give you an idea. It is huge. Look at that. It's huge. So of course you can see why also the price tag. It is obviously it's a luxurious production because of the cardstock, because of the size, etc. But it is a really big deck. So just in case you're wondering, if you have problems like I do with shuffling really big decks, but I always find an alternative way to do that. So how am I going to do that? I don't even need to zoom in because it is so big. So here we go. It gives me a lot of the Cursed Ovaries kind of vibe. This card especially gives me that kind of vibe. But see, what I adore about this deck is the fact that we have the symbology in the drawings is so powerful and intense. And it's always very on point. You can have something powerful and intense, but not being spot on, being on the money when it comes to the meanings of the cards. This is so beautiful. Wow. So it's a combination of being very powerful and intense, but also to having the right way to measure or to show the cards. So this is the Justice card, which is obviously reminding us of the Egyptian symbology, weighing the heart as opposed to a feather. It gives me, it's almost as if the Cursed Ovaries and the Yokai Yochi had a child. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but it really gives me these kind of vibes, and it's an absolutely gorgeous deck. So I'm not going to give you now a full walkthrough. I'm not going to show you all of the cards because look at the 5 of Cups. My goodness. Because I may actually do a deep dive one day. I don't know. It's, as you can tell, it's a scenic deck, obviously, but it is a bit pippish. But all of the cards are so symbolic. Wow, the 4 of Hearts. Wow. So all of and the 5 of Hearts. Oh, without any. Oh, that's so beautiful. So there's a lot of symbology, as I said, and it is very interesting to decode it. It's very interesting to understand what they mean. There is a renaming of the suits, which is always very interesting when that happens. This is the Suit of Swords. Look at that. That's absolutely gorgeous. Not entirely happy about the 3 of Swords, but that's the way they depict it. So be it. Oh, the 6 of Swords is amazing. Anyway, it's difficult for me to not stop on the cards because I just love them so much and they're so very beautiful, that I feel like talking about them all the time. Let me know in the comments below if you'll be interested in a deep dive of this deck. I haven't seen it a lot in TarotTube or Instagram, so I would be very interested to know if there's there might be some kind of request for this deck. And so this is the Mio Ims or Mayo Ims Tarot. So the funny thing was that I started this video yesterday because these other two decks were supposed to be delivered yesterday, but there was a slight delay, so I actually got them today. So this is, it's like a wonderful, happy mail week because all of a sudden I'm getting decks almost every day. Well, not almost every day, but 2 days in a row, which is really exciting. And I think I also have something scheduled for tomorrow. So really happy week. Let's have a look at these two because both of them I am so very excited about. And one is a rarity. I am so stoked that I was able to get my hands on it. And one is absolutely gorgeous. So let's see. So I actually got this deck from Danny at Danny Mystic. So thank you, Danny, so much because it was such an affordable price and I've been after this deck for years. And it is a very rare deck. And you also added this bag, which is so gorgeous. I mean, look at this. I absolutely love the sun and the moon here. And, I can't wait because it's just really, really beautiful and I appreciate these kind of details so much. So it is the Baroque Bohemian Cats Tarot. Now, not just the Baroque Bohemian Cats Tarot, because that in itself is a wonderful tarot deck. This is a very rare special edition because I don't know if you have this deck. It's out of print. It's been out of print for a few years. And on top of everything, what I just recently learned from Baba Studio. So Baba Studio is the creator producer of these decks. So if you're not familiar, they also released the Bohemian Gothic, the Victoria Romantic, the Mythical Creatures, the Fantastic Menagerie, and other decks. The Tarot of Prague, for example, but there's a few, there's probably a dozen, and I'll make sure to link the website in the description box below for you to check. I can assure you 1000% that this deck, it's been out of print for a while, and they actually announced that they were going to do a reprint. However, I just recently found out that the reprint is not exactly going to be the same deck. So it's going to be called the Bohemian Cats Theater or something like that. So if you follow them on, I think they're most active on Facebook, if I'm not wrong, but probably also on Instagram, you'll be able to see a couple of cards. And I think I haven't received my copy of the Bohemian Gothic yet. That's the one I scheduled to be delivered tomorrow. But apparently there's a couple of cards, it comes with a couple of cards, a teaser, let's say, for the next edition of the Bohemian Cats Theater. And I am so very happy because this edition is a very special one. It's the one that has all of these ornaments, all of these decorations on the borders. So it's exactly like this you can see here. And this makes it a unique edition. I think it's the first edition, I'm not entirely sure. I am so very happy that, Danny let me have it for a very, very reasonable price. And, it's stuff like that, when things like that happen, it makes me so happy because I would not have been able to afford it otherwise. Okay, I don't have I don't have that kind of money this deck can sell for. And for my understanding, so the box is it's been used because I think it's from about 20 years ago, but just to be sure, let me just double check. And also the guidebook, this is the guidebook, it's in perfect condition, so I am in awe of how it looks new. It looks like it's just been released. So let me just double check, what year is that, or was that? Hello? There's, where does it say? It doesn't say. How is it not saying what years? Okay, I can't find it for now. I'm probably so overwhelmed with emotion that, you know, I'm probably just missing it, and it's somewhere here. But this deck is so very beautiful, and I think it's about 20 years old. Okay, it must have been something around 2003. As I said, I'm not entirely sure, and now I'm just gonna spend 5 minutes and try and look for the year of publication, because 2004, there you go. I should have just checked the back of the box. So a copyright Magic Realist Press 2004. So 2004, we are almost in 2004, so this is almost 20 years old, and for a 20 years old deck, the packaging, okay, that bears the brunt of time, but everything else is in pristine conditions. Look at the book, it's just a cat's interpretation. So we've got the 9 of Cups. Let's just see. A somewhat portly and obviously very satisfied cat sits on a barrel in the public room of an inn, licking his lips. Behind him, carved in wood, can be seen a scene of general merry-making. A cat's interpretation. Most cats can be quite contented when they simply have the basic good things in life: food, a warm place to sleep, companionship, and a bit of territory. Looking at humans, cats will often wonder why they can't simply enjoy curling up on the sofa after a good breakfast and sleeping through the day. What could be better? I couldn't agree more. I mean, my cats are exactly like that. They love to be around us. If my husband and I move to a different room, they will literally just wait 5 minutes just to show us that they don't necessarily depend on us, but then they just move to the room where we're in. I am so excited about this deck. Thank you, Danny. Thank you so much. So I'm just gonna try and fix this box, because I don't want the cards, or perhaps I'm just gonna keep the cards in the bag because it's such a beautiful bag. And look at this, this is perfect. They're not bowed, there's absolutely no sign of wear. I am so ecstatic. It's fantastic. The way in which, you know, there you go, she kept this deck is really a testament to how much she loves, you know, these decks, how much she loves tarot. So this is, as I said, very, very rare. I think that most of the time you can find this deck on a Facebook group, for example, or on, I don't know, eBay perhaps. But you will find the edition without the decorations on the borders. That is the, let's say, the most popular edition, and it's also not the so this is definitely the special edition from 2004. It has been reprinted a couple of times after that, and those reprints do not have the decorated borders. I am absolutely stoked about this deck. It's not in order. I'm gonna put it back in order, but I just wanted to give I just wanted to give you a preview. So this deck is obviously a collage, as you can see. It's like a photographic collage and then some kind of, you know, artwork that is on the cards. And this is the deck card. Look how cool this is. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm really looking forward to also have a look at the guidebook, because Baba Studios guidebooks are also very, very interesting. As I said, I'm waiting for the Bohemian Gothic, which I think is just cleared custom. It takes a bit longer because it comes in a wooden box, and anything wood in Australia is checked and rechecked for, you know, parasites and stuff like that. So that's why it was delayed at customs. But hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, it's going to come tomorrow. I have to say, this is really brightening my day, because I just found out this morning that after the ordeal of having been scammed on the internet, so if you don't watch my channel, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you watch my channel, you will know what happened. So basically, I've been, it was my fault. Actually, it was nobody's fault, you know. It was one of those websites that is phishing a legitimate website. It was for a moving company, removalists, and it looked absolutely legit. It was full of really good reviews. The good reviews that I found on an independent website were referring to the actual legitimate website, obviously, but they were really good. And no one said, be careful because there's a company that's actually phishing their website and that's a scam. So unfortunately, I got scammed, and that's what happened. And as soon as I realized that, I found a way to fix everything, so everything went okay. Even the bank recognized that, it's because I had to go to the police, the cyber crime police, or the internet fraud, kind of something like that. And so I reported them, etc. And the bank said, okay, that's not a problem. It's going to take a couple of months. And then this morning, and I woke up and there was like a transaction on my credit card. So listen to this because it's kind of funny. There was a transaction in my credit card, right? And it was for $125 on a sushi place. And I think to myself, okay, I love sushi. Okay, I often go to eat sushi by myself or with friends because my husband doesn't like seafood. And so what happens most of the time is that I meet up with someone in the city center in the CBD, and we'll just go to a sushi place and we'll have sushi. And I thought to myself, since it's quite an occurrence that probably once a week I do that, I looked at the date and I thought to myself, okay, it was referring to yesterday, and I haven't been yesterday. However, in some cases, some restaurants will charge you later at a later date. And in your statement, it actually looks like the date in which they charge you is the date in which the transaction actually happened. So I was really trying to struggle and, trying to remember. Oh, look at this, the Six of Swords. I was trying to remember this looks like a mix of architecture from Italy. This looks like a basilica from Venice, but this is definitely from Prague. So I will look, and I'm not sure 100% of what I'm saying here. Please don't take me seriously because I could be completely wrong, but I absolutely love, if that is the case, I absolutely love it. I could be completely wrong, as I said. So don't quote me on that. So I was saying, I try to remember, but I never spend $125. By myself, I wouldn't spend that much money. Sushi is quite affordable in Sydney. And so after 5 minutes about doubts, I reached out, I called the bank and I said, can you just let me know the location? And they were like, oh, it looks like it's in Rosemead, and that's an English sounding name. I live in Australia. Don't necessarily know of a Rosemead, but it's also true that Sydney is very big. And it could be a suburb in Sydney I've never been to, or, it could be the location of the restaurant. Maybe it's a chain restaurant and they have the headquarters in Rosemead, but then they serve different areas that I don't know about. And I kept on hoping that, it wasn't what it looked like. And then I Googled Rosemead and I found out it's in California. And I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't been to California. So I called the bank again and I said, oh, it's definitely not me. So I had to contest that transaction. They had to block my credit card because obviously it has been cloned. And so I probably need to do some cleansing. I'm thinking about doing a bit of a cleansing energy, although this is all related back to that fishing episode and it's still linked to the place that we moved out of. And and I'm still like, okay, well, what else can I expect? Because it's been, 3 weeks and obviously I need to expect something else. But anyway, so related again, going back to this deck, I'm so very happy, so very grateful that I was able to purchase this because I absolutely love it. And it will be a pleasure to dig into the guidebook. Let's have a look at the other deck that I received today. So this other deck is a very recent deck as opposed to the 20-year-old deck that I'll show you earlier. This is, if I'm not wrong, because I didn't even check, just double check and make sure. And it's a really lovely packaging, by the way. I got this from a very lovely member of one Facebook group here in Australia for, trading, selling, buying of tarot decks and oracle decks. Sorry that I have to read through this. See, it's lovely when all of this here about the packaging, it's really not just nice itself, and I'm so sorry that I'm ripping through that like that. It's not just nice, but it's also helping to preserve the deck, obviously, to save it from any kind of accidental bumping and stuff like that. I need a cutter, a box cutter for this. Let's see if I manage not to hurt myself and also at the same time not to ruin the deck, because I will be gutted. So this one, if I get there, let me see if I can just access that. No, okay, I'll be right back. Okay, almost there. So this one was a Kickstarter from, I think it was still this year. And I missed out on it, and you know, I cannot remember why. Sometimes it's because I have a limit. I put a limit on my Kickstarter because otherwise I would just end up back in 20-30 decks per year, and I don't want to do that. But this is so worth it. So again, thank you so much to the person who let me have it for such a reasonable price. It's the Ephemeral Tarot, Arthur Wang. It's the same author and creator of the True Black Tarot. If you are not familiar with it, this is a version of a True Black in white and gold, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And if you, I don't know if you can tell, the gold foil on the box is amazing. It is so beautiful. It says 2022, so maybe the Kickstarter was from last year, but I know for a fact that they started shipping them out only perhaps a month ago, something like that, or in any case, that's when it arrived in Australia. This is the guidebook, and the guidebook is also my matte o-ring. So it's very interesting because I keep on seeing more and more either forward or guidebooks by matte o-ring. And what was the last deck that I saw? I don't remember. There was another one that is very recent. Either it's been just released or it will be released soon. I'm not gonna open. I don't want to break the spine. I love that there's keywords to the cards. You see the sacrifice, ovation. So it's very interesting. I don't have the True Black, but I'm thinking about getting it because I have this idea about doing some kind of very specific work with both of these decks. So one, obviously the white version, let's call it like that, representing the light work, and the True Black representing the shadow work, and then bridging them with the Soul Mirror Oracle, because I think that the Soul Mirror has in itself the setting, the way in which it has been structured by the author, Sunshine Connolly, is that it mirrors you. So there is, in the same card, there's a keyword, and there's, let's say there's a title, and there's two keywords, one for the light meaning and one for the shadow meaning. And so I really want to see whether I can pull this, pull it off and use these two together, or these three together. So here we go. Oh, that's okay. The first feeling is it's a chunky deck. It's a chunky cardstock. Okay. Wow. Oh my goodness. It's got that kind of really silky kind of rose petal feel to it. However, I have to say that would make me suspicious, as in sometimes that kind of feel is making the cards stick together, but they don't. I think that it's a very high quality rose petal finish, because it's not like, let's say, without taking anything away from how much I love the deck, but if you know the Healing Waves, that's a kind of a rose petal that will actually make it so that the cards are really sticking one to the other. And I'm not entirely, oh, sorry about this. Didn't see that. So I'm not entirely happy about that. However, recently they probably changed the formula. I'm not entirely sure on how to achieve that. But the ones that are being printed on a velvety style, rose petal kind of style of cardstock are actually very good quality. They don't stick together, and it's very easy to shuffle. So this is, oh, look at the backs. My goodness, look how beautiful. Is there writings on the backs? So there is some writing in the backs. At first, I thought it was Chinese. I'm still not convinced that it's not, but it doesn't look like it. So I'm also not wearing my reading glasses, so to me it's all a kind of a blur. But it looks more like it's some kind of symbols. It looks almost as if it was those cuneiform kind of writings from Babylon. It's so beautiful. The gold foil is also kind of embossed, so if you do like that, very lightly touching the cards, you will feel the ridges on the cards. So it feels like it's a bit of an impression. It's got a bit of an impression, not just the foil. And in here as well, you can tell. Wow, that's so beautiful. So there is nudity, I have to, but it's a very tasteful kind of, you know, nudity. It's not something in your face. There's a lot of writings. I definitely need my glasses. What I'll do, ooh, and this is Mayan. You know what? I really think, and this is definitely Chinese. So I really think that there's different writings. So I've seen this writing when I was in Honduras. I visited the Mayan archaeological site in Copan. If you haven't been, I highly recommend it. It's absolutely fantastic. I personally love Central America. It's one of my favorite places in the world, although I do recognize that I tend to say that for a lot of places. But the memories that I've got of that holiday, it wasn't a holiday, it was we practically lived there for 2 months. And we did all of the states in Central America, all of them, because it was my pride and my target. I really wanted to spend at least a couple of days, if not longer, in all of the states of Central America. And I absolutely loved Guatemala and Honduras and Costa Rica. And, you know, it was just wonderful. And we had such a good time. We went with friends. It was a big group as well, kind of 12 people, and it was just amazing. I have such lovely, lovely memories about that. And so every time that we were visiting a place, obviously, it really reminds me of how well I was, how happy I was. And, you know, sometimes I think, okay, I'm not as happy now, and some things that have happened in life, but I don't look back and think that's never gonna happen again. I think if I was that happy back then, it means that I can be like that again. And so I hope that it will happen again. But it was an amazing trip, as you can imagine. So these cards are absolutely fantastic. The way in which I'm not sure that I'm actually showing you enough of the let's say, because you need to play with the angle of the cards in order to show the gold stamping, gold foil on camera. But rest assured, every time you see something like that that looks dark, it's actually gold. And then obviously there's the rest of the drawing. It is really marvelous. It's so very beautiful. This is music. So it would be very interesting to have a look through the guidebook and see the renaming, you know. And this is the same again of the back of the card. So I definitely think it's cuneiform alphabet, you know, from Mesopotamia, that area. Sacrifice. Ovation. So I'm not gonna, this is not a walkthrough. I'm not, obviously, look at the minors. So I was worried that the minors were gonna be too pippish, let's say. But I have to say that is not the case, because you still have the symbology, you still have the salamander, you still have the 2 wands, you still have the globe, you still have the water. Wow. So they did keep a few symbols, you know, for you to be able to actually refer back to the RWS. Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. So, and then you go back to the court cards, and the court cards also have the gold foil, even though you can't really see it. So this is really a gorgeous deck. It's one of those decks. Look at the Two of Cups. How cute is that? It's one of those decks that I just, they're just objectively, I think, beautiful. I don't know. I mean, perhaps it might not be your style. Look at the Ten of Cups with the whales. It might not be your style, of course, and you might not like it. Of course, everyone is entitled to have their own opinion. What I do think, though, is that no one will have any problem in recognizing the amount of effort, the skills that go into producing something like this, because it's not just, as I was saying, it is very elegant, Oh, that's such a beautiful Five of Swords, by the way, and the Six of Swords. So really, really happy that this deck has entered my collection. Let's have a look at the Queen of Swords. That's beautiful. Really amazing. Absolutely fantastic. I'm already thinking about what oracle deck I can pair it with. You know me. I love doing that. It's a way that I have to bond with my decks. And this is additional card. It's really beautiful as well. And it looks like it's got a, is that a poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley? I met a traveller from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read, which yet survive. Stamped on these lifeless things the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away." I don't know why, but this all reminds me of Shadow of the Colossus. This is a very idyllic kind of poetry, and I just come up with the game, but it's the gamer in me. So Shadow of the Colossus was a game from years ago, but it's really the, let's say, the legend behind it is very interesting, and it's a very beautiful game. So we'll see this deck. So beautiful. It feels almost as if, you don't want to use it. It's one of those decks that feels very precious. But then again, you never know, because some precious decks are meant to be used. They're not just collectible artists. But in any case, so very happy that I got these two gems into my collection today. And the unboxing continues now. You probably all know what this is because you can already see that. Now, I have to say, this is the third day of the week in which I receive a massive amount of decks. And I guess it's the joys and pains of having a postal system that consolidates the deliveries. Because it looks like every single Kickstarter that I backed this year has been delivered this week. Every, pre-order that I put in has been delivered this week. And yet, if you look at the dispatch dates, we have, all sorts of dispatch dates from September, October. And I know that it takes a while to come to Australia, but I also know that once they come here, they actually get stuck in custom for a while, and there doesn't really seem to be any reason why, one deck stays in customs for 2 weeks, whereas another decks get cleared after 4 days. I guess it's because they get the information and the delivery destination, and then they just consolidate everything. It is true that the Australia Post is in crisis. There was several articles about the fact that it's not a profitable company, and every Australia will go, okay, but it doesn't need to be. It's actually a service. So it's the pros and cons of having a private company to do these kind of deliveries, or not. I know that there's other countries that have publicly funded delivery system, or a private funded delivery system, or a bit of a mix like we have in Australia. I guess it is what it is. I'm quite happy when I do get the deliveries like this all at once. 5 or 6 decks in a day. It is obviously as if we were at Christmas. I feel like you know, I got all of these packages to open and unbox, and it's really, really cool. But it is a little bit overwhelming, I have to say, because what happens is that, you know, you get to the point in which you don't really have the time to do any kind of deep dive into any of these decks. You just look at them, and then you kind of, you know, you have to get back to them little by little. But I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that there's pros and cons to consolidated deliveries. Obviously, it is what it is. So this is the well, these are the cards from the Bohemian, the Baroque Bohemian Cats Theater Tarot? Cats, no, sorry, the Bohemian Cats Theater Tarot, not the Baroque. Okay, but in any case, so there's actually a website dedicated to that, and yeah, so I'm looking forward to this deck as well, even though I literally just, as you've seen, you just received the Baroque Bohemian Cats, but that's a very special edition, and that's from 20 years ago, and that's never coming back. But I'm a fan of Baba Studio. I'm a fan. So I'm probably gonna get everything, everything that I print, I'm gonna get, chances are. I missed the Alice Tarot. That one is, you know, the one that got away, unfortunately, and now it sells for like hundreds of dollars. So, yeah. But let's see. Let's have a look at the Bohemian Gothic. Now, the Bohemian Gothic is probably my favorite deck of all of Baba Studios decks. Because, and I'm talking about the edition that I've got, so I don't remember which one it is. It's the one, I think it's called Pewter edition, I'm guessing. So the Pewter edition, it's got 2 lovers cards. It is really cool. This one is the 4th edition, if I'm not wrong, and it's the latest one. So it's the one that, let's say, has been in pre-order since, I'm guessing, October. No, sorry, not October. April, May this year. They do seem to follow the general rule of pre-orders in starting from March, April, and then start to ship the orders in October. Like they did for the Victoria Romantic, also 4th edition, I think. So this one is, obviously, they repeated the box. They took the same idea of the box from the latest edition of the Victoria Romantic. So it's a wooden box. That's part of the reason why it's been probably held up in customs. And I have to say, I am a fan of this box because it's very elegant, first of all. It's just the size, it fits the deck, and it's not massive, it's not too heavy. Space-wise is perfect. And it also is a nice, very elegant, you know, deck. Oh, okay. So it's a nice, elegant box. Where you can store your deck. I'm just wondering if they put these 2 here because the deck otherwise moves, which, you know, it's suggesting that I should do the same. So this is, as you can see, the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. Now this is sealed, obviously, because I just literally just opened it. It does come with a little white book. Which is the only book that I have for the other edition, because I did not purchase the larger guidebook. However, I did purchase the guidebook. There it is. So I almost missed it because it was at the bottom of the box. So I'm being extra careful not to, you know, break the spine. It is so beautiful. Even the guidebook is amazing. What can I say? And there's another, okay, there's another card. I think this is from, yeah, that's from, so this larger size is the one, I think it's the deluxe edition. I tend not to buy deluxe edition decks, at least not from Baba Studio, because they are definitely collectible items, and even the quality is fantastic, but I have to say even this kind of size is unusable for me, obviously, because, you know, it's not meant to be used, so fair enough. but I tend not to buy it. I love that the guidebook is in color. That's amazing. So I followed up on the production of this deck, so of this newer edition, and I am so very happy. Oh God, look at the Ten of Swords. So I'm so very happy that I finally got it in, because I've seen that there's a few differences when it comes to the color palette, for example. I am a fan of the other edition, probably also because of the color palette. I don't mind the blue tint. I think it's really cool, because, you know, it is one of those decks, but you probably use it in a certain time of the year. And that blue tint kind of gives it an even spookier kind of appearance. So I'm being very careful not to break anything, not to ruin the cards, obviously. It is a very strong kind of wrap, plastic wrap. So I'm being extra careful. It's not as expensive as it could be, in the sense that obviously these decks, when they go out of print, they go up in price. You know that, we all know that. But when you buy them like this, when you buy them new, they're actually kind of affordable, kind of. I'm not saying they are cheap. I think I spent something like 180 Australian dollars, including the deck, the guidebook, and the delivery to Australia, which is, you know, the delivery alone would have been about $40, or the book alone would have been about $45, $50, so I'm not complaining. I think it's a very, considering the work that goes behind the production of this deck, it's actually very affordable. So let me just make some room here. Okay, so should we zoom in a little bit, perhaps? So I'm gonna do my best to show you the cold stamping. Now the cold stamping, oh wow, okay. I think I can do like that and you probably see it. This cold stamping is incredibly well done. It's almost chiseled. It's very well defined. And I cannot say the same when it comes to the Victorian Romantic. But the Victorian Romantic, the 4th edition, which I think it was the latest edition, with the cold stamping, unfortunately, was, to me, it looked like it wasn't well done. It ended up being, you know, blotches of blobs of color or stamping. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't a fan. This one is a lot better. You can definitely tell from the details. But overall, I wouldn't be crushed if they ditched the cold stamping altogether, to be honest with you. Because let's have a look. I mean, this is what the cards will look like without the cold stamping, right? The cold stamping, you can see it when you do like this with the card. I don't mind it like that. I mean, it's a nice touch. I understand it, because obviously they want to differentiate themselves from the market. And the cold stamping, when it's done well, look at the card, lover card. So there is only one, I think. Yes, only one lover's card. I have 2 in the other edition. I understand that they want to differentiate themselves, and that's absolutely fine. I, however, probably prefer these cards to be simply, although it is well done. I'm not saying anything. It is well done. This cold stamping is miles ahead. Oh, look at that! Look at the details here. Miles ahead of the Victorian Romantic. That's a beautiful devil card. Although in some cards it's a bit odd. But you know what? It's beautiful. I don't mind. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorite decks, because it's got this kind of really kind of cheeky air about it. So of course it's the Bohemian Gothic, so of course there are ghosts, there are devils, there are vampires, there are even a Frankenstein, I seem to remember. There are, you know, ghosts again. There's probably a mummy as well. There are skeletons, gargoyles. Is that a witch? There you go. You've got devil-like figures. You know, it is supposed to be like that, but it's a bit cheeky. Oh, I love this card. It's a bit cheeky. So it's the kind of deck that, yes, it shows you something, you know, something scary, but it's also kind of smirking. It's also kind of winking. And that's why it's actually really cool, because I don't think I have any other deck that is like this. It is, as you can see, it's very much similar. I don't know if you have the other deck, but it's very similar. The only thing is that indeed, I should have done a side-by-side. Maybe I will do a side-by-side. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see a side-by-side. I love this Seven of Cups. Because in the other deck, all this would have been really blue, which, you know, I never had a problem with. So as I was saying, I don't have any other deck that is actually kind of cheeky this way. It's showing you something you should be terrified about, but at the same time, it's also winking at you. And Three of Swords. Oh, the Dove. Four of Swords. Well, there you go. We got a werewolf as well. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the fact that it gives me the possibility, thanks to that kind of cheekiness, it gives me the possibility to give it a bit of a different interpretation, looking at it in a different way, from a different perspective. I don't recall if this figure actually had this in her mouth in the other edition. I love the Queen of Swords. And yeah, I love this. I'm very glad that they kept it. So this is Dr. Caligari's Cabinet of Curiosities. And that's a movie from the, so what was it called? The German movement of I think it was the 20s. You could see it in Metropolis, I think is the major movie that was produced under that label. And it was really, Nosferatu was another one that was produced during those years, and it was really, really interesting. It's a Six of Pentacles about. Wow. So it will become a different experience for me as well, because I do have the bigger book now, and I never had it before. So I'm guessing there's a lot more explanation about the cards in the larger guidebook. Sorry, I was just double checking. Okay, no addition. It doesn't look like there's any additional card, which is fine because 78 is what I use. Yes, I definitely like this deck. It's the cold stamping is very well done, I have to say. I'm kind of impressed. So this is an order from Amazon, and I am not surprised to see that it came all at once, obviously, even though it was placed in different days. So what did I get? I had this need, really hankering for dark decks. And I know that we're not in October anymore and the spooky season is over and I'm supposed to buy everything related to Christmas. It's just that to me, November is actually it's supposed to be a dark month. You know, in the Northern Hemisphere, we don't necessarily start celebrating Christmas or decorating for Christmas until the 1st of December. It's just that because of consumerism, you know, you start seeing all the decorations on as soon as it's like the 1st of November, because it's the day after Halloween. So they put all of the Halloween stuff on sale, and then, you know, they put the Christmas decorations for sale on display as well. And so I was like, I really need something darker. And, you know, and I saw these ones. I think this one was a very good price, the Tarot Favole by Victoria Frances. So I thought she was English, but she's actually Spanish. Victoria Frances. So by Victoria Frances, there's also the this one, the Oracle card. Not named in any other way, so it's literally called the Victoria Frances Oracle card. And then of course the the Tarot of the Vampires, which I know I'm super late to the party. I know that. It's super late. Everyone has had this deck for at least a year and a half or something, if not longer. I know I'm super late, but when I saw it the first time, I actually didn't like it. So I'm just gonna go quickly with these ones because obviously you all know this. I was lucky because this came with a really reasonable price tag. Had I bought it when it came out, it would have been quite expensive. This stuff. I think it's a Llewellyn. Yeah, it's a Llewellyn publication. So Llewellyn is, you know, the product obviously is very valuable in the sense that you've got these really big boxes that, and generally speaking, also really nice guidebooks. And you pay for that. You end up paying for that, which is fine. It makes sense. I love these Rories. So the Phantasmagoria, it's everyone knows that. If you don't, I assure you, it's one of the best, let's say, guidebook related to a tarot. But I have to say, even if you don't necessarily relate the book back to the tarot deck in specific, this book is exceptionally good for tarot readers. It's really exceptionally good. It's got it packs a lot of meanings, and it's kind of a refreshing look, you know, on the manuals that you can find around how to read tarot 101 or master the art of reading tarot in 60 minutes, and you go, really, 60 minutes? Okay, well, how well can you read it in 60 minutes? Learning in 60 minutes, I don't know. But it's a really good book. So one of the reasons why I finally caved in buying this deck was also because of the guidebook, of course. And let's just have a very quick look, because otherwise this video will go on for hours. I'm just going to show you quickly the deck, because I know that you all know this already. And I know it too, because I keep on seeing it. Keep on seeing it everywhere. And you know what? I have to say, it's not the usual Llewellyn quality though. It's thicker. It's still kind of, you know, semi-gloss. Anyway. So one of the reasons why I wasn't too keen on, well, this one is a Hierophant that looks like a devil. I wasn't super keen on buying this is because I don't generally, and this looks like it's a 7 of Swords. Wow. Wow, I'm already loving this deck. So I generally I'm not a fan of decks with high close-ups. Is this I don't know what this is. If it's a flaw on the card, or is it damage? It doesn't feel like damage. It feels like it's a flaw on the printing. That's okay, I'm not picky. So I'm not a fan, I was saying, of decks that show really like a close-up that occupies the whole real estate of the card. I'm not really a fan, but in the majors, I can put up with that. It's actually quite normal. But when it comes to the minors, when they're scenic, the 6 scepters, for example, scepters are wands. So in this case, you know, I would expect to have some kind of indication about the fact that you have a team around you that lets you win. I hope that scepters are, I think so though, because it also, the color is red, so obviously it's referring back to the wands and the suit of fire. Anyway, in any case, I also like, so we've got Lord, Queen, Prince and Daughter. So renaming of the suits. Of course we've got, okay, we got green, which is a bit odd. I would have expected cups to be blue, but that's fine. The grails, obviously. So I know that this is boring because everyone knows this deck already. The 8 of Grails is fantastic. I'm so happy that I finally got it. I don't know why I waited for so long. I mean, even the backs, look at the backs, they're amazing. And the knives, I always want to check about the 3-year knife of swords. Okay, well, not well. At least it doesn't show a heart, a pierced heart. Fair enough. Love this deck already. Really, really love this deck already. You know, better late than never. I mean, and the pentacles with the skulls, which is really cool. Yes, I love that. Amazing. So Ian Daniels, obviously, you all know who the artist is, a creator. And so this is the Tarot of the Vampires. Now, when I saw this and I finally convinced myself about buying it, I thought that it would have paired up really well with the Victoria Frances Oracle cards. And I know that it's a Lo Scarabeo deck, and as always, or you know, most of the time now, the Lo Scarabeo, the Oracle decks from Lo Scarabeo do not have any kind of title nor keyword on the cards. It is very rare. Like the one that comes to mind that does have title and keyword is the Journey of a Lonely Soul, but other than that I can't think of any other, or at least I don't have any other deck, Oracle deck by Lo Scarabeo with keywords in my collection that I know of, because I can't possibly, I mean, out of now with the delivery of this week, I think I'm up to 450 decks. So honestly, you will excuse me if I forget what I've got. And I did used to keep in an Excel file, like a spreadsheet, but I need to you know, update it practically every day, so I just lost the will to do that. So as always, being very careful not to hurt myself, but mostly not to damage the cards. And so this one, obviously, it would have been a great deck for the spooky season. But then again, I do believe that it went down in price because we're not in the spooky season anymore. These are the backs, by the way. So since we all know that there's no keywords, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to shuffle it very quickly. A quick shuffle, just to not to have the numbers in sequence, or not too much of the numbers in sequence. And I'm gonna check how it pairs up with the Tarot of the Vampires. Also shuffling this one. Okay, so we're just gonna have a look at the aesthetics for now, because I haven't even had a look at the guidebook for the Oracle card. So unless I base the readings entirely on intuition, it's not going to be easy to just to see, you know, for example, I don't know, longing. This one talks to me about longing. So longing between the Six of Wands and the Queen of Wands. But I do believe that they actually look really cool together. I think, I apologize if I'm wrong, Robin, but I think you've shown this deck with the Oracle before. And I think I saw it for the first time on your channel. Sorry if it's not, if I may be confused, so sorry about that. But if I did see it in your channel, I immediately thought that this would have paired up well with the Tarot of the Vampires. But look at that, they have exactly the same expression there. They have their directionality is looking towards the right, but they're looking back at me. So there is an invitation there. There's an invitation. It's, wow, it's amazing. And also, now that I look at it, the Oracle deck would pair well probably also with Lisa Hunt's Ghosts and Spirits Tarot, and probably with the other Ghost Tarot by Lo Scarabeo, which I don't have. I'm loving this pairing. Everything looks as if it would just, you know, very coordinated, very, and we see again the drowning Ophelia. It's so beautiful. All the protagonists, the characters on the cards have the same kind of energy, I have to say, as well, which helps, obviously. And I'm mixing up the cards here. I hate doing that. These two, yes, absolutely. I am very happy about these two. And normally, you know, probably a couple of years ago, this would not have been my style. I'm not, because they're all very beautiful. There's not much diversity in either one of these two decks. And by diversity, I mean any kind of diversity. There's no skin color diversity, there's no gender, yes, there are different genders, but just, you know, male and female, although I don't know, maybe. But there's not much body diversity, and when it comes to age, don't even try. They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful. But they're white and skinny, that's what I mean. I mean, gorgeous and white, skinny, and super young. But once we know this, on the other hand, what we can do is we can appreciate you know, other things that are in the cards, something else that is actually inspiring us to use these decks and to read something out of these decks, to listen to the message that is coming somehow to the surface. Would have been better with some. Oh, this is Venice. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I love this deck. Sorry about everything that has got anything related to Venice. It really conquers my heart. There's no two ways around that. I am so excited about going to Venice. Finally, we're counting the days, 2.5 months away. I'm so excited to go there, see my friends, hug them, you know, talk with them, and see their kids growing up, and you know, see my hometown, and take a gondola, and it's also because Venice at that time of the year is fantastic. We go into Venice for Mardi Gras, and so my husband doesn't know yet that we have to dress up for the carnival, but I still don't know what we're gonna wear, but I'll probably find something. So what do you think? I really love these two together. Again, no diversity, which is a pity, because I mean, it's 2024. I mean, obviously these decks are not from 2024, I don't think. Maybe this one is more recent than the Tarot of the Vampires, but there should have been diversity even from many years ago. I mean, it's not an excuse, but they're beautiful. I like them. I am not that skinny. I am definitely not that young, and I'm definitely not that beautiful. So it is something that perhaps does not necessarily resonate with me either, but it doesn't matter. I can still appreciate them for everything else that they bring, you know, together with the message, the vibe, the energy, that kind of decadence that I read in them. Let's have a look at the other. I got 2 more tarot decks, and then I am going to finish this video, because otherwise we're going to stay here for hours. So the next one I'm going to open is another deck by Victoria Fantash, and it's the Tarot Favole. Now, I don't remember what that's the Italian word for fairy tales, favole. It does not sound, it's not Spanish because of the end, and also because the V would not have been used that way. But I cannot remember what the Spanish word for favole is. Fiabas? I don't remember. In any case, I wonder why. And it's not even, it's a Fournier edition, which is definitely not Italian. It's a Spanish one. It's from Alava, Spain. Legutiano, Alava, Spain. So I don't know why it's called this way. I was curious about it because at the beginning when I saw this deck, I thought that it does look, when you don't know it, it actually does look like one of those Lo Scarabeo tack boxes. However, the main difference with Lo Scarabeo is that it's got a flap at the bottom as well, whereas Lo Scarabeo decks don't, and that's very smart. I'm gonna show you with the Dark Fairy Tale Tarot what I mean with not having a flap at the bottom, and why that is actually an advantage, but also because the size is slightly smaller. So the Fournier decks, if you don't know them, there's like the the Carlotides and Tarot de Luz or something like that. So there's a few, and also Royal Labyrinth, I think is also Le Fournier. So that there's a few really cool decks, you know, produced, released, printed by them. See what they have to do, and you see me taking out the wrap, so it came wrapped. What I have to do, in order not to ruin the cards, is to put the little white book in the middle, in the center, because otherwise, if you put it on the sides, it's going to ruin the cards. There's no two ways around that. It's the flap. The flap is going to get stuck in between the cards. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm just wondering. Yeah, it's in order. Very peepish, my goodness. Okay, I did not know that. That's okay, it's fine. It's a very affordable deck. Okay, so let me just zoom in a little. I love the backs, by the way. And yes, the majors are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, of course, you can recognize the art style of Victoria Frances, but this one, for example, this could be from the Bohemian Gothic, with the gargoyle and everything. Vanice again, thank you. And I'm thinking, obviously, this will go really well with Victoria Frances oracle cards, obviously being the same author. But you know me, I try to make it difficult for myself. I don't necessarily pair up two decks by the same author. If I can, I actually try with different decks. Now, these are so peepish. That is a huge letdown, but okay. Of course, the core card are not, thank goodness. Okay, not a fan of the spiders there for the King of Crosses. Spiders. Okay, I'll have a look at the guidebook. Now we got the mask. I love the idea of having, you know, masks in a minor. But obviously, we need to check what the mask is, because, and black roses are just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, they are super peepish, but they're beautiful. Flowers, okay, flowers, that's, and butterflies, amazing. Mariposa, butterflies, okay. Yeah, I mean, I love, there's a few things that I love about this deck. The cards, the majors, the backs, the renaming of the suits, and I also love the court cards. Not a fan about the super lazy pips, but it is what it is. And the last one is the Dark Fairy Tale Tarot. This is a Los Scarabeo deck. Let me just open it quickly. Okay, here we go. So who's the author? Magic, Lights and Shadows of the Fairy Realm. Doesn't say. Maybe it says, oh, Raffaele De Angelis. Okay, I don't know him. So see, the difference in this case is that you don't have a flap that goes inside the top box. I don't know if you can tell. And this one avoids any kind of, you know, getting stuck with the cards. So I'm definitely a fan of this solution. Los Scarabeo has invented this, no, they haven't invented it. They have implemented this solution many years ago. And I have to say, I am a fan. So this one has got a bit of a more elaborate kind of borders, which I'm not necessarily a fan of. But I really do appreciate this deck, although I have to say, perhaps I'm wrong, but this one looks like Ian McKellen, Gandalf, basically. And this one looks like the author, the actor that was playing Sauron in The Lord of the Rings. I could be completely wrong. But, you know, because it is the Dark Fairy Tale Tarot, there might be references to major fairy tales, and when there is a visualization thanks to cinematography, then it is perfectly possible that they actually based very inspirational on that. Look at the Tower card, it's actually really cool. So it will be really interesting to see what the stories are, what the fairy tales are behind these cards. It is a scenic deck, as you can tell. I haven't seen this deck that much around, to be honest. And I think it's a pity because I really like it. As I said, it is one of those Los Carabeo decks in a tuck box. It's not like the quality is fine. I mean, it's not priced to be, this one reminds me of the Ten of Swords and the Majestic Earth Tarot. It's not meant to be a collectible item, so it's not priced to be a collectible item. And as a matter of fact, you know, you're supposed to be using it. You're supposed to use it a lot. And all of the details of the production are reflecting that. It's tailored to be read. Definitely need to check out the guidebook, because I feel like I keep on recognizing either actual characters, love this Six of Swords, either actual characters or even you know, stories or fairy tales by themselves. And that was it. So that's it for today, because it was a very long video. So thank you if you're still here. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end. It was a very overwhelming week when it comes to deliveries, but overall I'm pretty happy. So more to come. Have a great day.